Forget everything you think you know about the United Kingdom. If you still picture London as just a collection of foggy old brick buildings and Big Ben, you are in for a massive shock. By the year 2026, the British landscape is going to look like something straight out of a science fiction movie. We are talking about engineering feats so ambitious, so technologically advanced, and so incredibly expensive that they are already making planners across the Atlantic in the United States look on with a serious case of envy. From underground high-speed veins connecting the nation to massive renewable energy islands and futuristic entertainment hubs that rival Las Vegas, the UK is currently undergoing a total architectural transformation. We are diving deep into 9 upcoming megaprojects in Britain that are set to redefine what is possible in modern construction. These are not just blueprints gathering dust. These are massive sites where thousands of workers are currently moving mountains of earth and pouring millions of tons of concrete to change the world. Let us kick things off with the big one, the project that everyone has heard of but few truly understand the sheer scale of High-Speed 2 or HS2. Now I know what you are thinking. It is just a train, right? Well, calling HS2 just a train is like calling an aircraft carrier just a boat. This is the largest infrastructure project in Europe, and is currently the biggest construction site on the planet. The goal is to create a high-speed backbone for the country, allowing trains to travel at speeds of up to 225 miles per hour. This will slash travel times between London and the north in half. But the real reason engineers in America are jealous is the sheer complexity of the tunneling involved. Because the UK is so densely populated and filled with historically protected land, a huge portion of this track is being built deep underground. We are talking about 10 massive tunnel boring machines, each the length of several football fields, grinding through the chalk and clay of the Chiltern Hills. One of the most impressive parts of this project is the Colne Valley Viaduct. When it is finished in 2026, it will be the longest railway bridge in the UK, stretching for over 2 miles across lakes and suburbs. Watching this viaduct come together is like watching a giant Lego set being built by giants. It is a masterpiece of precision engineering that proves the UK can still build the impossible. But the UK is not just moving people faster, it is also changing how the entire world thinks about energy. That brings us to project number 2, the Dogger Bank Wind Farm. Located out in the North Sea, this is not your average group of turbines. This is a monster. When it reaches full capacity in 2026, it will be the largest offshore wind farm in the entire world. The turbines being used here are so tall that each one is nearly the height of the Eiffel Tower. Just one rotation of a single blade can generate enough electricity to power a British home for 2 entire days. Can you imagine the logistics of installing hundreds of these steel giants in the middle of a restless sea? The US has its own offshore wind ambitions, but they are lagging years behind the British expertise in this field. The Dogger Bank project is using a massive conversion station that looks like an oil rig on steroids to send power back to the mainland using high-voltage direct current technology. This is cutting-edge stuff that ensures the UK will be the clean energy capital of the globe by the end of the decade. Now, if you want to see something that looks like it belongs in the year 3000, we have to talk about the London Resort. Often dubbed the Disneyland of the UK, this mega project is planned for the Swanscombe Peninsula in Kent. While it has faced some delays, the vision for 2026 is a massive multi-park entertainment destination that puts traditional theme parks to shame. We are looking at a multi-billion-dollar investment into a site that will feature immersive lands based on blockbuster movies and TV shows from BBC and ITV. What makes this special is the focus on next-generation technology. They are planning rides that use augmented reality and robotics in ways we have never seen before. Instead of just sitting in a cart on a track, you will be part of a living, breathing story. The sheer economic impact of this project is mind-blowing. Expected to create thousands of jobs and draw millions of tourists away from the usual Florida traps. It is a gamble, but it is a gamble on a scale that only a country aiming for the top would take. While we are in London, we have to look toward the skyline at the ever-changing cluster of skyscrapers in the city. Project number 4 is the 8 Bishopsgate Tower. While many US cities are struggling with empty office spaces, London is doubling down on ultra-high-end, sustainable vertical cities. 8 Bishopsgate is a standout because of its stacked block design. It looks like a series of glass cubes piled on top of each other, each with its own outdoor terrace and green space. But the real magic is the sustainability. This building is designed to be one of the most energy-efficient skyscrapers in the world, using smart glass that tints itself depending on the sunlight in a ventilation system that mimics natural breathing. By 2026, this tower will be a shimmering example of how we can build high-density urban environments without destroying the planet. It is a level of architectural sophistication and environmental consciousness that makes the standard glass boxes of New York look a bit outdated. Moving away from the capital, we head to the southwest for project number 5, Hinkley Point C. This is the first new nuclear power station to be built in the UK in a generation, and the numbers behind it are staggering. It is currently the most expensive construction project in the world per square meter. At the heart of the site, they are building 2 massive nuclear reactors that will provide reliable, low-carbon electricity to 6 million homes for the next 60 years. The amount of steel and concrete being used here is enough to build several stadiums. One of the coolest parts of the construction is Big Carl, the world's largest land-based crane. This machine is so big it has to be moved on dozens of tracks and can lift over 5,000 tons at once. Seeing Big Carl in action is a reminder of the sheer industrial might the UK is pouring into its energy independence. In an era where many countries are struggling to figure out their nuclear future, the UK is just getting it done, building a massive fortress of energy that will stand long after we are all gone. But what about the north of England? Project number 6 is the redevelopment of the Manchester Piccadilly area, often called the Northern Powerhouse. Manchester is currently undergoing a revitalization that rivals anything happening in the US Sunbelt. By 2026, the area around the main train station will be transformed into a massive urban village with thousands of new homes, green parks, and high-tech office spaces. This is part of a wider trend where northern cities are reclaiming their industrial heritage and turning old warehouses into the Silicon Valley of the UK. The centerpiece of this is the new Factory International, a massive flexible arts space that can host anything from a symphony orchestra to a massive indoor festival. It is this combination of cultural investment and infrastructure that is drawing young talent away from London and creating a new economic engine in the north. Now let us talk about something truly unique. Project number 7 is the Eden Project North, in Morecambe. Most people know the original Eden Project in Cornwall, with its giant bubble-like domes. But this new version is something entirely different. It looks like a series of giant mussel shells made of wood and glass, sitting right on the edge of the Irish Sea. This project is designed to be a landmark for ecotourism and education, focusing on the ecology of the bay. It is a brilliant example of how the UK is using architecture to rejuvenate seaside towns that have been struggling for decades. Instead of building another generic shopping mall, they are building a world-class research and tourism hub that blends perfectly with the natural landscape. American developers often struggle to integrate large-scale projects with sensitive environments, but the Eden Project North is proof that you can have both high design and deep environmental respect. For project number 8, we have to go underground again with the Thames Tideway Tunnel, also known as the Super Sewer. Now, a sewer might not sound like the most exciting mega project, but this is a 25-mile-long tunnel running right underneath the River Thames. For over 100 years, London's Victorian sewers have been overflowing into the river every time it rains. This massive engineering project is fixing that problem once and for all. By 2026, the Super Sewer will be fully operational, capturing all that overflow and keeping the river clean for generations. The engineering challenge of digging a massive tunnel through a maze of tube lines, power cables, and thousands of years of archaeological history is mind-boggling. It is an invisible mega-project that will have a massive impact on the health and beauty of the city. While many U.S. cities are facing crumbling water infrastructure, London is finishing one of the most complex sewage upgrades in human history. It is a massive win for public health and urban planning. Finally, project number 9 is the Freeport zones, specifically the Teesside Freeport. This is a different kind of mega project. It is not just one building, but a massive economic zone that is being transformed into a global hub for green industry. By 2026, Teesside will be home to massive factories producing green hydrogen and carbon capture technology. The scale of the land being cleared and developed here is immense. This is the UK's plan to lead the fourth industrial revolution, the green one. They are creating a tax-free zone that attracts billions in investment from global companies. It is an economic mega-project that is literally building a new future for one of the UK's old industrial heartlands. Watching these massive manufacturing hubs rise from the ground is a sign that the UK is not just a service economy, it is a making economy again. When you look at these 9 projects together, a pattern emerges. The UK is not just tinkering around the edges, it is making massive long-term bets on its future. Whether it is HS2 changing the speed of travel, Dogger Bank and Hinkley Point C securing the energy supply, or the London Resort and Eden Project North, creating world-class destinations, there is a level of ambition here that is truly breathtaking. In 2026, when these projects are nearing completion or coming online, the UK will be a very different place. It will be a nation that has modernized its infrastructure, decarbonized its energy, and revitalized its cities in a way that few other countries can match. For those of you listening abroad, especially in the US, it is worth asking why these projects feel so different from what is happening in America. Part of it is the concentrated geography. Because the UK is smaller, these projects have a huge impact on the entire nation. But another part of it is a willingness to invest in the very long term. Building a nuclear power station that takes 20 years to finish, or a railway that cost billions, requires a level of national consensus and planning that is rare. The British engineers and architects behind these projects are among the best in the world, and they are currently being given the canvas to create masterpieces. As we move toward 2026, keep your eyes on the headlines coming out of Britain. You are going to see more massive viaducts being completed, more offshore giants rising from the sea, and more futuristic skylines being carved out of old industrial land. The UK is in the middle of a construction boom that is quietly changing the world. These mega projects are about more than just steel and glass. They are about a country proving that it still has the vision and the grit to build big things. Let us dig a bit deeper into the sheer engineering might required for something like HS2. People often complain about the cost, but when you see the precision required to tunnel under a working city without disturbing a single building above, you realize where the money goes. One of the most fascinating aspects is the recycling of the earth being dug out. Millions of tons of chalk and soil are not being thrown away. They are being used to create new nature reserves and wetlands along the route. It is a circular economy on a massive scale. This kind of holistic planning is what makes modern UK megaprojects stand out. It is not just about moving from A to B, it is about improving the environment as you go. And look at the wind industry again. The UK has become the world leader in offshore wind for a reason. The North Sea is a brutal environment with high waves and unpredictable weather. To build the Dogger Bank farm, they had to invent new types of ships and installation techniques that didn't exist a decade ago. This is frontier engineering. The Americans are watching closely because they want to replicate this in places like the Atlantic coast or the Gulf of Mexico. But the UK holds the keys to the kingdom right now. They have the supply chains, the specialized vessels, and the experienced workforce that makes these gargantuan projects possible. The architectural diversity is also something to behold. It is not just about rides. It is about urban regeneration. They are taking an old industrial site that was polluted and neglected and turning it into a green oasis of entertainment. The landscaping alone is a mega project, involving the planting of hundreds of thousands of trees and the creation of new ecosystems for local wildlife. This is the new standard for mega projects in the UK. They must be beautiful, they must be functional, and they must be regenerative. Even the skyscrapers like 8 Bishopsgate are changing the way we interact with the city. Instead of being closed-off ivory towers, they are increasingly open to the public with viewing galleries and public gardens at the top. It is a democratization of the skyline. In 2026, the London skyline will not just be for those who work in the big banks. It will be a high-altitude park for everyone. This shift toward public space and private developments is a major trend in British planning that is producing some truly stunning results. The super sewer is perhaps the most selfless of these projects. Nobody will ever see it. It will be buried deep beneath the silt of the Thames. But the difference it will make to the water quality and the life in the river is immense. This is an investment in the basic health of the city that will last for 200 years. It is a project that honors the Victorian engineers who built the original system while bringing it firmly into the 21st century. The sheer bravery of boring a massive tunnel through such a crowded subterranean world is something that doesn't get enough credit. Then you have the Eden Project North. Morecambe used to be a bustling seaside town, but it has seen better days. Bringing a world-class, billion-dollar project to a town like this is a massive statement. It says that no part of the country is being left behind in this new era of construction. It is using high-end architecture as a tool for social and economic change. This is a common thread in all these projects. They are not just about making things bigger, they are about making things better for the communities around them. Hinkley Point C is also a massive social project. It is training thousands of new apprentices in nuclear engineering and high-end construction. It is creating a whole new generation of skilled workers who will be able to build the next series of power stations both in the UK and abroad. The knowledge being gained on this site is one of Britain's most valuable exports. While the US nuclear industry has struggled with high costs and delays, Hinkley is providing a blueprint for how to manage a project of this insane complexity. And we cannot forget the Manchester Piccadilly redevelopment. It is part of the largest urban transformation in Europe apart from London. It is turning the city into a global tech hub that rivals Berlin or Austin. The investment in rail and public space is creating a city where people actually want to live and work, not just commute through. This is how you build a resilient, modern economy. You invest in the infrastructure that allows people to connect and create. The Teesside Freeport is the economic engine of this whole vision. By creating a space where new technologies can be tested and manufactured at scale without the usual bureaucratic hurdles, the UK is positioning itself at the very front of the green energy race. This isn't just theory. They are already building the world's largest monopile factory for wind turbines right there on the site. Thousands of high-quality manufacturing jobs are returning to an area that desperately needed them. So when 2026 rolls around, what will the jealous Americans see when they look across the pond? They will see a high-speed rail network that makes their Amtrak look like a relic. They will see a clean energy grid powered by the wind of the North Sea and the atoms of Hinkley. They will see a capital city with a clean river and a shimmering, green skyline. They will see a North that is vibrant, tech-savvy, and culturally confident. And most of all, they will see a nation that dared to build on a scale that many thought was no longer possible in the West. These projects are a testimony to the power of human ingenuity and long-term vision. They remind us that we don't have to accept crumbling roads and outdated energy. We can build a future that is better than the past. The UK is proving that right now, building it brick by brick, tunnel by tunnel, and turbine by turbine. And the risks are high, but the rewards are even higher. If you are a fan of engineering, architecture, or just a good old-fashioned comeback story, the UK is the place to watch over the next few years. These 9 mega projects are just the beginning. They represent a new chapter in British history, one defined by ambition and innovation. It is an exciting time to be an engineer in the UK, and even more exciting to be a citizen who gets to use these incredible new facilities. The jealousy from across the ocean is not just about the buildings and the bridges. It is about the fact that the UK is actually doing it. They are moving from talk to action. In an era of political gridlock in many parts of the world, Britain is currently a hive of activity. Hammers are banging, drills are whirring, and the future is being forged in the mud and the steel of these massive sites. As we wrap up our tour of the UK's 2026 mega projects, remember that these are more than just numbers on a spreadsheet. They are the foundations of the next century. They are the legacy we are leaving for our children. And from what we have seen today, that legacy is going to be absolutely spectacular. The UK is rising, and it is doing it with style, speed, and a whole lot of engineering magic. So, next time you think of the UK, don't just think of the history, think of the future. Think of the high-speed tracks, the giant turbines, the subterranean sewers, and the coastal shell-like pavilions. Think of a country that is rebuilding itself for a new age. The UK is not just a museum of the past. It is a laboratory for the future. And in 2026, the whole world, especially the Americans, will have no choice but to sit up and take notice. Whether it is the sheer scale of HS2 or the environmental brilliance of the Eden Project North, there is something for everyone to admire in this new British construction boom. These projects are a source of national pride and a lighthouse for international investment. They show that even an old nation can learn new tricks and build on a scale that truly makes the world jealous. Everything we have discussed today is currently underway. These are not dreams. They are realities in the making. Thousands of lives are already being changed by the jobs these projects create. And millions more will be changed when they open. It is a massive, collective effort by a nation that refuses to be ordinary. And that, more than anything, is something to be excited about. The UK is currently building a masterpiece. By 2026, the final brushstrokes will be in place for many of these projects, and the result will be a portrait of a modern, efficient, and beautiful nation. It is a bold vision, and the execution is even bolder. Keep watching this space, because the British construction story is just getting started, and it is going to be one for the history books. The jealousy from the States is just a sign that the UK is doing something right. It is a sign that they are leading the way in global infrastructure and sustainable design. It is a healthy competition that pushes everyone to do better. But for now, the UK is firmly in the lead, carving out a future that is as grand as its storied past. And for a viewer interested in mega projects, there is simply no more interesting place on Earth right now. The sheer variety of these 9 projects is what makes the UK's plans so robust. It isn't just about one sector. It is about a total upgrade of everything. Transport, energy, leisure, environment, and economy are all being addressed at once. It is a holistic approach to nation building that should serve as a model for the rest of the world. By 2026, the results will speak for themselves. So, get ready for a UK that is faster, greener, and more spectacular than ever before. The mega projects are coming, and they are going to be amazing. From the depths of the London soil to the windswept heights of the North Sea, the future is under construction. It is a story of ambition, engineering, and hope. Right across the United Kingdom. The jealousy is real, but the inspiration is even more important. May these projects encourage other nations to dream as big and build as boldly. Because when we build great things, we don't just change the skyline, we change the world. And that is exactly what the UK is doing in 2026. The British mega projects have arrived, and they are making a massive statement on the global stage. Stay tuned, stay curious, and keep building. The world of tomorrow is being built today, and it looks like it has a British accent.